5-minute penalty to Chicago, a game misconduct, and then Manson having words with Steven. And now Butcher gets into it. We're going to have a brawl, folks. Stand by.
What's up, everybody? Tyler Cash here. Another episode of Fourth Line Goon Hockey Podcast. I'm chatting with my boy Tommy. How you doing, bud?
Good stuff. Like I got through a nasty heat wave here yesterday. I felt like it was Vegas in Southern California. And other than that, yeah, it's been taking it easy. Been just kind of watching the whole Western Conference playoff race kind of play itself out. It's been fun. How about you?
Oh, just my mom's in town, so I've been showing her around, helping her pick out some houses. She's looking to move out here, which is exciting. Drinking some beer, eating some great food. Basically went to all of my favorite restaurants out here, which was nice. So
Del Taco and Del Taco and Del Taco.
pretty much throwing a yard house visit there, here or there. I'm not fancy. But yeah, it's been good, man. A little staycation, showing the fam around. Not bad at all. Speaking of SoCal and Vegas, you're going to be out here next week, huh?
No, actually, they're actually coming out Thursday. So I'll be here Thursday. I'm only coming out for a couple days. So 14th.
Oh, this weekend.
Yeah, 14th cool. To the 16th. So
yeah, you're a shitty friend because Kevin was the one that told me. He's like, "Oh, me and Tommy are going to be there." I'm like, "Oh, dude, I had fucking no idea."
I've been so fucking busy. You know how hard it is just to get time to do a podcast for me, let alone anything else.
That's fair. What are you doing out here?
Killers concert on Friday. So it'll be good stuff.
Cool. Yeah. Lowe's actually going back to St. Louis, so I'm going to be rolling solo. So I might have to crash on your floor and partake in some Fat Tuesday. I don't know if I'm going to catch the show. Is it where's it at? Is it at Virgin?
No, it's at Cosmo.
Okay. So
pretty small venue, which is kind of sick for the Killers at least. But
yeah, because I feel like they're from Vegas, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I feel like they've played T-Mobile probably multiple times in the past, so that's exciting.
Yeah. They're doing like a whole, I think, a weekend thing. I think it's like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They have a show at the Cosmo, so be a good time.
See, those little shows are awesome, but they suck because all the scalpers buy the tickets and then they run them up to like hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I want to go see Deftones. They're playing at Virgin tomorrow. And I'm not even kidding you. Last time I checked, it was like $480 a ticket, which is just insane.
Speaking of tickets, so the Ducks' last home game here in a couple of weeks, Sunday the 24th, it's Blues Ducks. It's Getzlav's confirmed last game ever as a Duck. You know how cheap Ducks tickets are. I get a game for like $10-20 generally.
Yeah.
Cheapest tickets like $72 plus fees right now for like last row of the upper deck. It's brutal.
So that's probably the most you'll ever pay to go to a game at the Pond, huh?
Yeah, probably so. But
I mean, that's cool that they're playing the Blues, though. I had no idea. I thought you were just randomly attending a game like you usually do out there. But that's kind of the icing on the cake, like getting to see Getzlaf retire. One of the last games of the season, you get to see the Blues last time out in California.
Well, also, I do confirm good news. I will be in St. Louis that last weekend of April, hopefully to see the Knights miss the playoffs.
I knew you were going to go. There's no way you weren't going to fucking go. So yeah, I haven't gotten my tickets yet. Have you? No,
I haven't touched anything yet. No.
Yeah. I've just been kind of waiting it out. Like part of me wants to get like lower bowl tickets because it's not something I can really, obtain out here in Vegas, much more expensive, but the tickets are actually high priced because it's the last regular season game of the year. And I mean, it's always a close game, as far as I'm concerned. I think just going to overtime would be great. And that seems to be a common thing between these teams is like high scoring overtime. So it might be one of those scenarios where they just need a point. Who knows?
Let's hope.
Yeah. Fingers crossed, which is a good leeway. And I'm very excited. I was going to wear my jersey, but oddly enough, I had hot sauce from Hot Wings and some beer stains all over it because it's been a minute since I've worn it. And that's my Mark Stone.
Nice legend,
Mark Stern, reverse retro jersey because he is back in the lineup. The Vegas Golden Knights found a way to send a couple players down to LTIR. I guess not down, send them wherever. And that is Laurent Brossoit, their backup goaltender, William Carrier, and Nolan Patrick. And that freed up just enough room to bring Stone out, which is well needed right now because they're in a playoff race. That's for damn sure. So very excited about that. They face off against the Canucks tonight. I'm really hoping that not only does he, make his presence known in the ice, but also in the locker room, kind of amp those boys up to win these last, stretch of games.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, you kind of think of it as like almost like an Eichel 2.0 situation in a sense of someone, big name coming back into the lineup. Is he 100%? I personally don't think so. Completely speculative on my part, but I think he is probably going to need something done in the offseason. What that's going to be, TBD. But I mean, you got to get a guy like that in your lineup, especially like when you consider the trade-offs of 3 guys that are going to LTIR who aren't really playing at all anyway. Like you said, Carrier, Patrick, and Brossoit, just enough to get him into the lineup. However, I guess the interesting thing to consider is if he gets, say, like injured or something again, right? It's yeah, that's a whole nother, roll of the dice you're running just to try and make playoffs. But again, I guess you kind of have to, right? But
I mean, who else are they going to bring? I didn't know that rule. So if he comes back, he gets injured, you can no longer put him on LTIR. So
I don't think there'd be enough games to put him on LTIR
right.
for. So.
Yeah. So basically, like, you're bringing him back, and if he happens to hurt himself, you cannot bring anyone up to replace him. That $9.5 million cap hit, which is definitely scary because we haven't even gone a stretch of games longer than 7 or 10 games without an injury.
Is this the Knights have like 10 games left exactly at this point?
9, I believe. Okay. There's 9.
Okay.
So and the cutoff right now would be that basically if they win all 9, the fate is in their hands.
Yeah.
They could punch their ticket to the playoffs if they win all 9. Now, the more games the LA Kings, the Dallas Stars, or the Nashville Predators lose, allow a little wiggle room there.
Sure.
Yeah. And they're thinking that the cutoff line is going to be 96, 97 points. And yeah, if these teams remain on path with how they've been playing all year, basically they're somewhere in the ballpark of having to win 7 of 9.
Yeah.
And they're on the middle. They're in the middle, or they're getting ready to start this crazy Canadian away stretch where they're gone for over a week. They're playing Calgary, Edmonton, who's also in the hunt still, and tonight Vancouver. So it's not going to be easy. That's for damn sure. But yeah, I mean, as you said, is he going to be 100%? Probably not. But they have him on the third line, which is interesting enough. They have him reunited with Stevenson and Pacioretty. I guess they're concerned about giving him too much ice time. Same with Pacioretty, so they're on the third line, which leaves the first line Dadonov, Eichel, and Waugh, and then the second line is the Misfits, or at least a rendition of it, which is Marchessault and Carlson and Amadio. So I mean, they're definitely healthier. To me, I think the bigger impact, honestly, is not only Mark Stone's presence when it comes to just hyping his teammates up and their captain being there, kind of rallying around it, but it was the additions that they got over the last couple of weeks with McNabb and Martinez, because you need that tough veteran presence when it comes to defensemen. That's like the one position that you actually need that kind of discipline. And yeah, having a young hotshot defenseman like Shea Theodore or Nick Hague or Whitecloud that can put the puck in the net doesn't really, throw their weight around like those guys do. So, I mean, this is the healthiest they've been. They're still obviously missing a lot. There's 7 guys on the LTIR, which is apparently the first time that's
record.
Yeah, it's the first time that's ever happened during the cap era. The closest has been, I believe, in 2020 was the Chicago Blackhawks with 6 players. And then last year,
the Leafs, I think, also at one point had 6. I forget which year it was, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the Leafs last year as well. So I don't know. People were bitching because they're like, oh, look, he's not going to come back until playoffs. And now people are bitching, oh, look, he came back. They figured it out. Look, if they're going to blow it, they're going to blow it, right? It should make it all the sweeter for those haters out there if they wind up bringing all these guys back, being as healthy as they can be and still losing. I mean, as a fan, I'm excited. I'm really excited. I really hope that we get to see that Eichel, Pacioretty, Stone line. It doesn't look like it's going to happen tonight, but we're a step closer to that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see exactly how it plays out, and maybe just put him a third line to get a good feel for things, see how he recovers, and then maybe ramp up from there. It falls good, but yeah, I think it's an interesting dynamic. I think I was looking up, strength of schedule. I think out of the 3 teams, which are like a few teams, which it was like the Knights, the Preds, the Stars, the Kings, I think the Knights had the technically toughest schedule left out of everybody, or third or second toughest. I think the Kings, like honestly, I think Kings are in still, as crazy as it sounds. Like, if you look at their last like 6 games, they're all against like bottom feeders, like Blue Jackets, like Ducks twice, like Blackhawks. Like, it's not a tough schedule down the stretch for them. But I think next week, probably around this time, but we'll have probably like 10 days left in the season. I think we'll be in that do or die time and see where things are at. Because I could honestly easily see the Knights like taking over the Kings here, and then Kings kind of coming back and taking it over within the end of season schedule they have. But too much speculation still. 10 games left of hockey.
Speaking of Kings, injuries have plagued their team all season long as well. And he's not their captain, right? He's an A, Drew Doughty.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Well, no, is he not the captain?
I think he's an A. Either way, veteran presence for sure, been on the team for quite some time.
Correct.
They announced that he underwent wrist surgery, and successful as it is, he's not going to be back this season. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a huge hit, and he's been out of the lineup for quite some time. And yeah, they have been staying afloat, but that was always lingering in the back. Is he going to come back? Is he going to be that X factor like Mark Stone might be to the Golden Knights? Do they need this last push to get them through these games? I know you said they're an easier path to the end of the season, but also their goaltending is still a huge question mark. Cal Peterson is just known to slip up and have these blowout games, and Jonathan Quick is not so quick as he used to be. I think I've used that joke to the grave. I'm retiring that joke. It's no longer existent. But yeah, I don't know, man. They have a very easy path. Nashville has actually the hardest. I was going to pull that up. So they're playing the Sharks tonight. Right now, it's in the first period, 0-0. But the Oilers next. But then the Blackhawks, Blues, Flames, Lightning, Wild, Flames again, Avalanche, and then the Coyotes. So I feel like if any team could drop off that people didn't think they would, the Nashville Predators would be that team.
Yeah.
And yeah,
it's interesting too, because it's like there's so many dynamics. Wow, sorry, Tarasenko just sniped a goal. Kind of watch that in the background here as we podcast.
What's the score now? Is it 2-2?
3-2. Krug scored also against the Bruins, which was great. No, so like it's interesting dynamic too, because like you get to those last games where it's like, oh shit, they play Calgary twice, they play the Avalanche. It's like odds are by that point Calgary has division locked up. Colorado has at least the conference, if not possibly President's Trophy, locked up. They're probably resting players, but then the flip side is like you look at the Kings schedule. One thing I want to point out too is like, yeah, you're playing these bottom beaters, but like this is now basically their Stanley Cup of the season. Like, oh, we can fuck this team over and like keep them out of the playoffs. Like we have something to play for still in a sense. So
that's when rivalries really come into play for sure.
Yeah, 100%. So we'll see how that all plays out. But yeah, one thing to note though too is Doughty's played less than half the year. He's only played 39 games. So he's not been a huge part of the team really at all this year. They've been doing it mostly without him. That being said, also Dustin Brown actually just got activated off of LTIR. He's not this crazy goal scorer type guy, but he's a solid, $5.8 million fourth liner that they could plug in there. So, I mean, that's some veteran presence to kind of, maybe replace what you're hoping to get back in Doughty or what fans are hoping to get back in Doughty. So they still have that veteran presence. Kopitar, Dustin Brown. It's gonna be tight. It's gonna be tight down the wire. It's gonna be fun though.
They're caught up now with the Vegas Golden Knights. Like their games at hand no longer exist, I believe, and they had a 3-game losing streak, which definitely helped the picture. It's exciting. At least at bare minimum, if these teams don't make playoffs, we're getting that kind of playoff mentality now. Lots of do or die scenarios. As you said, we're going to both be at that game in St. Louis at the end of the month. So it's going to be really exciting to see if that game matters to these teams or, and the Blues could have already, clinched their spot as well. Assumingly they would. Yeah. So, who's going to be in the lineup that last day? I
think it'll come down to like, if it's probably going to be Blues Wild first round. So it's showing up to be. And if that's the case, like, will the Blues have a chance to, if they win, get home ice advantage or something? Like that would probably be the only caveat to playing maybe a full lineup. But Yeah, I think outside of that, you probably expect Bennington and net. You expect some other guys to rest a little bit, maybe here or there. But also hockey's different. You don't have a whole, AHL lineup you can just run out there last game of the year either. So
Wait. So you said Bennington and net. So your final answer is you think they're going to start Husso game 1 of the playoffs, huh?
Well, not necessarily either. Like if you watched over the weekend, like he played extremely well against the Islanders. Granted, it's the Islanders, but it's better than some of these other bottom feeding teams. But there's still time. I mean, it's going to be real interesting to see. I mean, Husso's definitely the guy right now. You can't deny it. And I think at this point, you got to lean towards Husso game 1. But if Bennington picks his shit up over these, probably has maybe 2 or 3 more starts for end of the year, and he tunes up really well, it's a tough decision to make because odds are Husso's walking at the end of the year and Bennington's your guy. If you say, fuck you, I'm going Husso, you upset Bennington. He's like, I want out. There's so many things to consider.
Hey now, what's up, goons? Tyler Cash here, and it's time to pause the podcast and chat a bit about our amazing sponsors over at Schlafly Brewing Company. Hockey and beer. Does it get any better? I don't think so. Schlafly has been brewing up some of the best beer I've ever had for many years, and it's officially that time of year for their famous Raspberry Hefeweizen. It's one of my personal favorites. Their Raspberry Hefeweizen distinguishes itself among others in that it's a true fruit beer. None of this fruit-flavored crap. It uses real raspberry in the brewing process. Once the fruit sugar ferments out, the aroma and flavor stay in, making this a delightful drinkable beer that's not too sweet or tart. It's refreshing and balanced with a natural hazy pink coloring. Because it's low in alcohol, it brings out a smooth dose of weediness, and it's perfect for summer. It's perfect for any time. Download the Schlafly app or visit schlafly.com to locate and devour yours today. That's SCHLAFLY.com. Schlafly Beer. Drink Mo Beer. This podcast is brought to you by 1 in a Million Handyman Services Incorporated. 1 in a Million is a family-run local company that's been serving the Las Vegas, Nevada area for over 15 years. They are licensed and insured throughout Clark County and travel as far as Boulder City, Henderson, Las Vegas, and North Las Vegas. 1 in a Million specializes in smaller home repairs, but also tackles commercial repairs. They've worked around the Strip, residential homes, commercial buildings, you name it, 1 in a Million has made their mark. With a 4.5-star Yelp review and countless of happy customers throughout the 15 years, you can guarantee you'll be happy with their services. All previous customers can refer an unlimited amount of friends and family for a $25 referral credit, which would come off of any future projects and or repairs if they decide to use 1 in a Million. This offer also extends to the Fourth Line Goon listeners. Mention this podcast and you will receive a $25 referral credit that will come off of the total cost of your repairs. 1 in a Million is open Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and you can find them on the web at juaninamill.com. That's JUANINAMILL.com, or you can also find them at juan.inamill on Instagram. 1 in a Million Handyman Services won't let you down. Check them out.
Absolutely. All right, so moving on. Pittsburgh Penguins forward Evgeni. I never say that. Evgeni. Evgeni. It sounds like a gerbil or something, like some kind of a gerbil. Evgeni. You have an Evgeni problem. Evgeni Malkin suspended 4 games for cross-checking Nashville Predators Mark Beragwaki. Brutal. Gives this nasty slash to him in front of the refs, in front of the net after the play's already been killed. And then they're just chirping. And honestly, the Nashville guy was maintaining his distance, kind of laughing it off almost. And Evgeny just kind of cross-checks him straight into the chiclets, man. He spits them everywhere. Blood. I mean, everybody all over Twitter was like, what the hell was he fucking thinking? 4 games. I mean, I think it was well worth it. Personally, that was definitely a way more aggressive attack than what we saw from Austin Matthews there at that Heritage Classic where he got 2 games. So yeah. I think 4 makes sense personally.
And not to say it's much different, but it's like hitting Dahlin in the neck / back of the head where he's got helmet, maybe a little more protected versus a stick to someone's face. A little different dynamic too. So I mean, yeah, I was thinking more 3, 4. I guess it makes sense. I mean, probably no sense to appeal it. Get some extra rest in for Malkin. He already is dealing with an injury this year anyway, so it's probably 150K of his salary gone to the players fund.
190 actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it was one of the highest fines so far, or money scenarios with a suspension so far this year.
And so it's probably whatever. I'll rest for 4 games. Probably needs it. Probably fine. Probably be good. Makes sense.
Yeah, just still uncalled for, right? Just absolutely shitty. Like, I know Evgeni has been known to have that temper, and he's got such a cutthroat personality when it comes to winning games. Obviously, he sat out half the season at least, so he's riled up, getting ready for playoffs, and now he's got to sit down, cool out, and he could be helping his team, not only clinch playoffs but secure a better seed potentially. I mean, let's be real here. I don't feel like a lot of people are talking about the Pittsburgh Penguins. They're playing some of the best hockey they have in years. They have Yari and Net, who's just killing it. You got Crosby. Well, I mean, this season though, he's had its ups and downs. I mean, a lot of these goaltenders have. I mean, shit, we saw Saros let in 12 goals in 2 games the other day, and he's still a stud. But I mean, that overtime winner from Sidney Crosby the other night, where he just wouldn't give up on the play, and it's showing that he still has it all these years. I think that was his 1400th point, right behind Ovechkin.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't think enough people are talking about the Pens. I think that they could make a serious run, and they're going to need guys like Malkin to keep this cool, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, also they're 3-6-1 in their last 10. They haven't been playing good hockey. There has been stuff of them having a stomach bug going around and having some illnesses and guys in and out of the lineup. Obviously, the Malkin suspension doesn't help. They're sitting third in the Metro right now. They basically clinch. If they get, I think, 1 more point or 2 more points in 8 games, they're 100% in. The Islanders would have to win out for that to change. But I think the biggest question for them concern is right now they're set to face the Rangers. Be the 3 seed. Rangers at home ice. Right now, not Islanders, but the Capitals have 2 games in hand. They're 4 points back. And if Pittsburgh gets overtaken by the Capitals, you're now having to play the Panthers round 1 versus the Rangers. Pick your poison. That's kind of what it comes down to, I feel like.
That would both be a shitty, matchup for sure. But once again, how important it is to not be, taking stupid penalties and stupid suspensions at this point of the game when everyone's trying to secure a better seed in the playoffs. That's just my point exactly. And you would think that a guy like him, who's been in the league for so long, could understand that he needs to be there for his team. He already missed half the season due to injury, and now he's going to sit out another 4 games, which is ridiculous at this point of the season.
Yeah. And fun fact too, that we brought up the Panthers real quick. As shitty as a fan base as they had in years past and most of the season until more recently, as they've kind of again shown that they're a top team in the league, they're 30-6 at home, dude. 30-6. That's insane.
And they still can't even get a full barn.
Oh, they have lately, no?
No, I know people have been chirping them still not being able to fill seats, and then they announced what the playoff ticket prices would be. And I didn't think it was that crazy. It was $76 plus fees. And everyone's like, this is bullshit. At the beginning of the season, I was going for $8. I mean, it's playoffs and it's an exciting time for them. They're a winning team. And of course, all these people are going to come out of the woodwork and claim they were there from the very beginning. But I mean, yeah, they're still struggling to fill the barn. And I don't know. It's interesting enough because they're doing so well. And I mean, it's not like they've always been a loser franchise. I mean, they had some exciting times right when they entered the league. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting run for them. Either that or it's going to be a burnout bright, which would be very embarrassing, I feel like, for them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know what's last I heard is right before All-Star game, in February, they sold out their barn before All-Star game for what it's worth. I haven't really paid much attention to it since, if I'm being honest, but I mean, it seems like people are showing up for the most part. I think the first half of the year, it's definitely not helping them, but yeah, I mean,
I feel like it's World Hockey Report that always posts the shitty attendance on Twitter. And I swear I've seen them post something and they were calling out Nashville recently too. Apparently their attendance has been down, which is strange because as much as I hate their fans and all that, go into a game in Nashville is badass. It's an amazing atmosphere, like amazing downtown area, and it's always fun to go to the games.
So yeah, I just look at their last game to ESPN. They had 17,700. It's considered 100% sellout.
Okay.
So, I mean, they're getting fans now. It just
fuck me, right?
It just took way too fucking long. I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you're gonna have all these people like, oh, I've been around since the Van Beesbrook era. It's like, okay, well then where the fuck have you been? I bet you a lot of those fans jumped on Tampa's ass, right? I mean, it's right up the road, and they're a winning franchise. They're exciting to watch, and yeah, I want to see. So it's impossible to see Tampa and Florida again in the first round. I guess it would have to be in the second round, if anything.
Unless the Panthers lost out and the Leafs won out, that would probably be the only scenario really where that probably happens. But other than that, it would probably be second round, most likely is where, well, I can't say that either because Boston could sneak up and take out Tampa for that third seed too. So
basically anything can happen. That's what's exciting about this time is watching.
I mean, yeah,
all
eight spots are pretty much secure for the East. It's just who's going to play who at this point.
Right. And even when you think you want a team, you're like, fingers crossed. You're like, let me get this team. You never fucking know. You have no idea. Playoff hockey is a completely different beast altogether. That's why everybody's saying, they're like, oh, we don't want Vegas first round. Like I even saw the Colorado Avalanche. They're like, let's go Canucks, like tweeting it out because they don't want to play them. Yeah. You know, they don't want to have to be like matched up against a team that finally found its health and its boost going into the postseason, because now's the time, right? What was that 3 years ago? Tampa was like horrible down the stretch, and everybody was like, oh, they'll be fine come playoffs, because we found out, did they like celebrate? They all like rented an island or like a fucking resort and went and partied like right away when they just like secured the President's Trophy, and then shit the bed for like the last 10 games, and then they lost that first round.
The Blue Jackets.
Yeah, that's insane. Like, so yeah, I mean, anything can happen. You got to keep your foot on the gas and keep your head on a swivel for sure. But yeah, I want to see a Battle of Florida again. I really do, because that would be extremely interesting. I don't think Tampa is quite the same team, and obviously adding Giroux to the lineup, and they added a defenseman, right? Who they add to the back end?
Fuck me.
To replace Ekblad. I feel like a poser now. We were just talking about it.
We were. I'm totally blanking.
Sherratt? Yeah, Sherratt.
Yeah.
Okay, Giroux and Sherratt. I mean, they added their team, and obviously Tampa had to subtract from their team to be cap compliant. So be very interesting. Speaking of which, speaking of previous episodes, not only should you guys go back and check them out, they're all on YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Didn't you and I have a conversation a few episodes about whether Austin Matthews was going to hit 60 goals? I feel like I was going to go back. I haven't had time to go back and find the clip.
I didn't agree to any bet.
You said no, though. I think, right? You were like, it's not going to happen. So now they're talking about 65 plus. I'm not watching the game right now, but he still has a good 8 games left in the regular season. I mean, he could do it, man. He's definitely not showing any signs of slowing down.
True. And also on the note of Matthews, like, yeah, he's having a hell of a year. Yeah, I'm a little bit of a pessimist. Yeah, sure, whatever. But the whole 50 and 50 thing, people need to chill. Like, that's not what he did. He did 50 and 70 or whatever the hell it was. Like, it's not how that works. You can't just take a 50 game span and say he did 50 and 50. It's first 50 games. Like, that's what it is. If that's the case, I think there's some guy out there, for his name, he scored like 56 and 44 games, which was like unreal, but like it was middle of the year, like Matthews. Like, not discounting what he's done, but like, that's not the same thing. That's not how it's measured. Anyway, that's just that needs to cool a little bit. It was 51 games or 51 goals in 50 games. Still, 50 and 50, 51 and 50, whatever.
Very exciting. I know he took the record from a former Leaf in the most goals in regular season. So good for him, having a hell of a year. Once again, none of this fucking matters if you can't put the puck in the net in the playoffs. So we'll see how that unfolds. Speaking of chirping, though, Montreal's Brendan Gallagher had a few choice words to say about Ottawa's Tim Stützle, about him overselling penalties. Basically, I don't want to say basically. I want to read the quote, and then you and I can kind of dive into it. So he said, "When I was 10 years old, our coach had a rule. If you lay on the ice and the trainers or if the coach had to come on the ice to get you, you're too hurt to play a minimum of 3 shifts. He's a great player. I've played against him 2-3 years now. More than half the games we've played against him, he's laid on the ice and is right back out there next shift. He lays on the ice. He acts like he's hurt. He sells the call. He's on the ice the same power play. There's kids watching. We're role models. And if I were a teammate of his, I'd tell him to smarten up. It's just not a good look. Very talented player, very good player. He needs to stop laying on the ice. It's embarrassing. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of Brendan Gallagher, but he's got a damn good point, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because there's a montage out there of like all these plays against Dutzla and him kind of falling down and stuff. And it's like, my stance on diving. I feel like most people do. I think it's trash.
Diver!
Yeah, exactly.
I should make that a ringtone. I can hear that in my sleep sometimes.
You should go to a game with Parker sometime. You'll never fucking leave your mind. But no, it's just like, I looked at it and it's like, he's not doing, when it comes to the action of like embellishing like the actual play, the hook, the trip, the hit, whatever, that's not there. It's the after effect of like, I'm gonna lay down and just like look at a ref and maybe sell the call and eventually get up and I'm like, oh yeah, let's go power play right now, I'm good to go.
Right.
No problem. And like that's just it's soft. He's young. I don't know. I don't know. I don't say someone's gonna teach him a lesson, but like, it's got to be better. I mean, that probably comes with age and time as you mature. I'm sure coaches and teammates will talk with him a bit, but I mean, outside of that, I mean, there should be a rule. I feel like where if like you're in actual pain or something and like you're on the ice, like you can't start the next shift. Like that's just how it should be, like at the very minimum. And like, if that means you win the face off and someone sprints off the ice and you come back on, so be it. But like, you shouldn't be able to start that next shift right away. I feel like, because it's a good chunk of time you're gonna be laying on the ice, and that's gonna lead to a call. So
yeah, you're stopping a game. It's literally embellishment. Yeah. So if you're gonna lay on the ice and then still want to play, you should probably go to the box. It should be a penalty as well. I mean, that's the easy way to take it. Now, if you're really hurt, then definitely I understand that. But I've seen, not comparable to the NHL, obviously, but in beer league, I've seen guys, take hits and try to sell it just so like the refs kind of change their mind and then get up and go right out there on the power play and score a goal. And yeah, it's bullshit. But I think it was classy. I don't think Brendan Gallagher and classy go together very often in sentences. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of him, but he did a good job of chirping him, but also complimenting him and respecting him. And then the response back from Stützle was just like, yeah, I'll take what he said and apply it, or I won't. Like, I'm not going to comment on that right now. And I thought that was great too, especially for a young player. He could have pulled the Zegras and said, yo, better watch his back, like, I'm not going to say his name, but I'm not going to say his name.
I also felt like Gallagher, when he started off the conversation, I got like straight like Joker vibes, well, there was a time back when I played, it's just like, it's total like Joker-esque.
Dude, yeah. And how old is Brendan Gallagher? Because I swear the guy looks like he works at Jiffy Lube and he's about 39 years old, at least. But I don't think that's the case.
No, he's 29.
29. Yeah, Jesus
29.
Christ, this guy is younger than me. He's younger than both of us, right?
Technically, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, oh my God. Must have lived a rough life. But yeah, he definitely has that kind of shithead instigator mentality. So to hear him just kind of be like, hey, bud, knock it off. And not go over the top like a Marchand would. I think it was a respectable take. As much as I want to talk shit on him like I just did, I'm going to at least give him that.
Fair. Makes sense.
So yeah, that about wraps up everything this week. Go back and watch our most recent episodes on YouTube, Spotify, all that great stuff. We want to thank our amazing sponsor, Schlafly Beer. Great product. Make sure you check them out at schlafly.com, and also 1 in a Million Handyman. You'll hear the ad reads throughout this episode, but we really, really appreciate their support. So we'd like for you guys to support them as well, because we can continue doing what we do, which is drink beer and talk hockey, which has been an absolute blast. Which, by the way, I just want to comment to 20,000 followers on social media.
That's right.
Plus, huge. We really appreciate it. Our YouTube has been picking up, which is exciting. That you guys want to see our ugly mugs while we talk about pretty much what we don't even really know what we're talking about. Yeah, we appreciate it. So make sure you chime in with questions and comments, because now that we got the YouTube going, I saw somebody commented underneath and they were like, hey, appreciate the takes, and kind of like chimed in with theirs, which has been great. Also, the video that we uploaded 3 years ago has just been going viral, which is hilarious, of Robert Bertuzzo knocking down his Essa Lindell.
Essa Lindell is classic.
Yeah, I uploaded that video like 3 years ago, and now people are just like wanting Lindell's head for being a diver, and
it's fucking, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, Bortuzzo finally getting the respect that he deserves. So yeah, go back and watch that on our YouTube. If you subscribe to us on YouTube, you can see that shit.
38K views. I'm just looking at it right now. That's great.
And there's cool. There's a lot of comments. It's awesome. It's really exciting. So we appreciate you guys chiming in. And yeah, let us know if you have any questions, because that's exactly what we're going to do right now. Is we're going to dive into some questions via Twitter and Facebook. Unless you have anything else you want to end on. No, I'm good. I think it's a solid episode so far. Let's see what the people got to say. See what they have for us, and we'll wrap up with that. Cool. So Project Mayhem wants to know our thoughts on Owen Power, and does Brisson sign his ELC and play for the Vegas Golden Knights this year? So I did have that note kind of at the end, and we overlooked it. Some of these young guys that were the first and second overall, I think it was, what is it? Owen Power was first overall for this year's draft, and Matty Beniers was second overall, and he's a forward that's going to be playing for the Seattle Kraken. Both of them are making their NHL debuts. I believe Owen Power is making it right now. I saw a clip of him taking the puck away from Austin Matthews, and everyone's freaking out. They're like, "Oh, welcome to the show," which is huge for him. It's awesome, but we're obviously talking about teams that are out of the playoff hunt. They've been eliminated, so why not give these kids a shot? You know, they have to build from them anyways, so why not give them the ice time? Owen Power does look great. I do think he looks way better than Dahlin ever did, and that's exciting. I thought it was a little strange that the Sabres did go a defenseman route. I guess it was because they signed the Rasmus Dahlin contract. I think he was just like shy of $3 million. So yeah. Once they knew they didn't have to pay him the 8.5 that every defenseman's getting, they were like, okay, let's take a chance on him. Took him first overall. I mean, I think he looks great. I think he looked great in the Frozen Four. I mean, he's going to contribute to that team immediately. As far as Brisson goes, I'm fucking stoked. I actually had myself a Henderson Silver Knights jersey made today for Brendan Brisson. He's going to be joining the team on some sort of like professional tryout, which I didn't even know you could do this late into the year for an AHL club, because it's kind of a tryout. Like, well, look at that. It's the fucking dumbest thing I've ever said. A professional tryout's kind of a tryout. No, but it's a tryout for the Knights, because if this guy goes to AHL and just starts lighting it up, they might burn his first year of his entry-level contract and bring him up for playoffs. So I have high hopes for Brisson, and I think Owen Power is going to be great. I don't think I've really seen enough of Matty Beniers to really chime in, but what's your take on those players? I don't know much about Beniers either myself. Brisson, I'm going to pump the brakes on you right now. He's not touching playoffs, so there's massive injuries. And even more so, he's going to have to show he can do something here in the AHL in these few games that he's there. Huge different level of talent going from obviously college to AHL. We'll see. I'm going to say wishful thinking there. He was second in points on team Michigan, by the way, just underneath, I believe, Beniers. I want to throw that out there. I mean, that's fine. I mean, you look at like the Blues, they had Scott Perunovich, right? Who was Hobie Baker Award winner before he joined the Blues. And like, he lit up the AHL. Like, he was that guy where he had so many assists as a defenseman. He didn't play in the AHL for like 20 games, and he was still leading the AHL in like defenseman assists because he had that many. And then like he came up and he was okay, and then he unfortunately had wrist surgery and he's out for the season. It's a big translation of your game. We'll see on him. Pump the brakes, give him another year or two, maybe you'll start seeing him. But I think the question is, I don't know the rule with like technically junior eligible players like Owen Power, because I know there's like the rule, like you remember
you call a guy up, like the Blues did it this year, Jake Neighbors. It did it in the past with like Robbie Fabry, I believe, where it's like you can play them for like up to 9 games.
Yeah.
And then you decide if they can go back, if they basically go to juniors or stay. I don't know if that applies here because
they have to clear. They'd have to clear waivers. Yeah.
Yeah. So are they officially then, or the Sabres then burning his first year contract then right off the bat? I feel like that doesn't make sense.
Well, so I guess you're saying that they get nine games with him before they have to.
But
and they're at that stretch.
That normally applies like early in the year during the juniors.
Right. So they signed 3-year deals. Both those players did.
Yeah.
So at least we know that. So it might not include this year. Now in the sense of the Golden Knights, they would definitely have to burn a year for just a presence in the playoffs. This is which is what they did for Peyton Krebs. They wound up dealing him. Obviously, he never even played in the playoffs because he took a puck up high. I think it was before in the regular season, he took an injury where he was wearing like a full cage and had his jaw wired shut. So
I just looked it up. Yeah. Confirmed. It will burn off first year of that, which is kind of surprising. Unless there's some other motive behind doing that. That's interesting because you're basically only getting him, I guess, under his entry level year for basically just 2 seasons.
I guess they're figuring out that these guys are such high up with the draft picks that worst case scenario, you're going to get him at a discount whenever those 2 years, are up. If he's not performing well, you can sign him to a bridge deal or something much lower. I mean,
but like, why? What's the point of playing him 9 games in a lost season when you could have him for a full year and then still, I don't know, assess that later? That's just where I'm confused.
That doesn't make a lot of sense. You're right.
So unless there's some leverage from his agent or something that I'm just not thinking of with him being a collegiate player, and maybe, I don't know if they would lose rights or something if they didn't sign him, beats me, but interesting take there. So you normally wouldn't see that.
All right. So what do you think? How are these guys going to unfold in the NHL? You got Power and Beniers. 1 and 2.
Beniers, I can't say anything about him. I know nothing about the guy, if I'm being honest. Power, I think has the potential to be what everyone in Buffalo wanted Dahlin to be, and then some. Because I mean, that's actually crazy if you think about it. They basically have, I think it's basically 3 years apart, the first round overall picks playing on their back end, which is nuts. But I mean, yeah, I think he has the potential to be everything that people in Buffalo and the NHL thought that Dahlin would be, but actually live up to it, in my opinion. So.
And I mean, Beniers could be the bottom tier 2nd round pick, and he would still kill it up in Seattle because, let's face it, they don't really have a lot of firepower.
True.
So yeah, he's finding himself, I believe, on the first line center, and I mean, it makes sense for them because it's a lost season, but it's going to be lost seasons for quite some time for them, and I guess they'd rather see what they have. But yeah, that about wraps up the episode. We really appreciate you guys. I'm going to head up here to the bar and catch hopefully a Vegas Golden Knights win, a start to this road trip. If not, I'm going to drink my sorrows away. Actually, I'm probably going to do that either way.
Is that a UC Soros pun? Drink your sorrows away?
Oh, nice. You know what we should call the episode? That drink your sorrows away. Even though we didn't talk about him at all, that's what I might do because I'm running out of clever puns to get clickbait on these episodes. But make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube, fourthlinegoon.com. Directs you right to our YouTube page. We're on TikTok, YouTube. I already said that. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that great stuff. We do these episodes once a week. We're going to have 2 more episodes before the playoffs start, 2 more episodes before you and I watch the Blues Knights in St. Louis. It's going to be very exciting. So make sure you tune in. And I would cheers you all, but I have 2 very empty pint glasses. So
yeah, I'm out too. So
take care, everybody.
Later, guys.